did the Trump campaign break the law by filming an ad there?
Look, for anything regarding any campaign ads, I would direct you to the campaign to speak to that, to the Trump campaign. What I can tell you is that, and I think the Army recently put out a statement earlier today that kind of went through what exactly happened in the incident. You can go on Arlington National Cemetery's website. It's very clear, the rules and regulations. What I'll say about the mission of those that work at Arlington National Cemetery, these are people who are dedicated to honoring our fallen heroes. And they maintain that hallowed ground. They work with the families in honoring those who have had their loved one lost. I'm just not going to go beyond what the Army has said, other than that, there was a report that was filed, but subsequently that person decided not to press charges. And so we're just going to, we stand by the Army statement that this matter is closed.
Why would the Army close the matter? If the person has decided not to press charges, the Army could still pursue it without that person pressing charges. But secondly, the fact of filming an ad on a national cemetery, if the Army doesn't further pursue this with either civil penalties or whatever can be done, what's to stop the next person from filming a political ad there?
Well, what I would say is the rules are very, very clear. They're also online and available on the Arlington National Cemetery website. That is really a decision that the Army has to make. That's not one that the department is making. That's for the Army to make. The Army considers this matter closed. The department stands behind the Army on that. Jen.
So, Sabrina, I'm trying to understand, in your understanding, what happened at the cemetery.
Yeah. And also, I'm sorry, you had also, just to go back to your earlier question on under the authorities, I direct you to the National Guard on that because it's going to vary on location. So I'm sorry, I should have been a little bit more specific. I would just refer you to the National Guard under what authorities those guardsmen are going to operate. In terms of your question on what exactly happened, I'd refer you to the Army to speak more to the actual incident itself. My understanding is that the families had invited, a few guests to attend a ceremony earlier this week. And there was some type of incident that happened between an employee at the ANC and a member that was traveling with another group's party. For more details on that, I'd refer you to the Army to speak to that.
Incident is a very sanitized word. What actually happened?
From my understanding,
was it verbal assault? Who did what?
From my understanding and from what the Army said is that an ANC employee who attempted to ensure adherence to the rules of the ANC was pushed aside. The employee acted with professionalism and decorum, but there was a bit of an incident that did happen.
So there are two different issues here. There's a potential assault charges that the person has decided not to bring, but there's also federal law that was broken, as Tara mentioned, filming a campaign ad or using campaign propaganda with the backdrop of these, of the cemetery. Can't the department refer that to the Justice Department for pursuit?
That's really, yes, that can happen, but that is a decision that the Army would have to make, and that's not, my understanding is that the Army is considering this matter closed. But in terms of, just to get to your broader question on political ads, that's not something that the department has a say over. That's something that gets adjudicated at the FEC level and between campaigns. So that, for anything that's used in an ad, I would refer you to the campaigns to speak to that.
But it is a federal law not to use what is essentially a base that is controlled by this department. And the defense secretary could overrule the Army. Why is he deciding not to overrule or get involved in this?
Look, what we want to focus on is the fact that the people that work at the Arlington National Cemetery every single day do so with dignity, work to preserve the memories of those who have made the ultimate sacrifice, and ultimately work with the families who visit Arlington National Cemetery. And, there are nearly, I think it's like 3,000 public ceremonies that are conducted at Arlington National Cemetery every single year without incident. The rules and regulations are very, very clear. What happened earlier this week is very unfortunate. It's really the decision for the Army to make on to pursue any other path forward. The department right now is not doing that, and the Army, we stand behind the Army in considering this matter closed.
Just last
Okay.